So what I'll be starting off with here is the blade. As you've seen prior, it has been forged and profile ground. At this point, I'll be doing the rough grind prior to heat treat and showing how that's ground. Now again, this is a JS candidate piece, Journeyman Smith candidate knife. So I'm going to show exactly how I go about making this a passable piece. Little things to watch for, little things to make sure of, double checking and triple checking before making the cut. Measure twice, cut once. So here we go. Okay, so here we go with the grinding. One of the things that you want to keep in mind when doing a grind on a blade, especially the rough grinding. Rough grinding sets the base for all the other work that's to be done on the knife. But symmetry is one of the key factors that's going to make or break the knife in the overall geometry. Symmetry is a key factor here, grinding both angles equally, so that your cutting edge is in the center. You grind on one side, you grind on the other side. The way that I like to do it, again, not the right, the wrong, or the only way, but just the way that I do it, is I eyeball from the cutting edge, and I want it to be in center of the tang. So I look down it. If it's leaning one way or the other, I know to do a little bit more on that other side to get it back to center. The blade itself has been rough ground. My cutting edge thickness is about maybe a nickel in thickness, the thickness of a nickel, and my plunge lines are going to get cleaned up now, so I'll be putting on a file guide, using that to help aid in getting those to be parallel and straight. Nice crisp sharp lines, I like that personally. And get ready to heat treat next. So do some cleanup and then back into the forge. So this here is a file guide made by Bruce Bump. Some of you out there might recognize the name. He's a master smith, lives not that far from me. This is what I use for doing my cleanup of my plunge cuts. Now this is the first generation, and if we go over here, I have another one of Bruce Bump, and I have one of the new second generation ones, but this one I'm really afraid to use, but it's awesome. These are really nice file guides. The second generations are by far better than the first generation. So with the file guide installed where I want, I'm going to go ahead and grind these down and show you what it looks like. the knife is ready to heat treat. So just prior to the heat treating process, the way that I do it at least, is I like to put my maker's mark in before that happens. And so getting it hot in the forge, I just heat the ricasso area. Put that on the anvil, put my stamp on it, and stamp it, hit it. So I do all that hot. Once that's all done, I clean it back up on the grinder, get it all back down to this point, make sure that there's no bends or anything like that. It's all nice and straight. Now we can go in and get ready to heat treat. Forge is lit. Here's the quench tank. I'm gonna go ahead and get this hot, get this done. And there you have it. The blade's been now heat treated. I cleaned it up on the grinder just a little bit to get it down to bare steel. I want to make sure that when it's tempering, which I will do next, I want to make sure that the temperature of the steel reaches where it needs to be in the tempering process. And that'll be a representation of the color that it ends up at when it comes out of the oven. So there is my blade ready to go now for the heat treating process to conclude with tempering. I'm going to use that guy right there. Everything's all finished up. The tempering is complete. I now have a heat treated and tempered knife blade. At this point, the only work to be done next is going to be to finish grind. There's not much flamboyance and drama in that, so I'm not going to video that part. But here we have part number 2, completion, a rough ground, heat treated and tempered blade.